Hey guys, BMAN here. Welcome to today's video. Today we've got the banger for you guys. If you don't watch every video, this is the video to watch. The people trying to play catch up, this is the video for you. What I've done today is I've gone along and I've got all the different glitches, tutorials that I've got, and I've compiled them all together into one space so you can use this video as a catch up video. This is a really long video. I'm going to chapter it into 3 different chapters, so it's only like 20 minutes each. Watch 20 minutes, come back another time and finish it off by watching another chapter. Just chapter it out, watch the first chapter, or maybe if you're bored, watch the whole hour long and watch all 3 chapters in one go, and you'll be an absolute magician when it comes to glitching. So with that said, guys, we'll have a quick word about today's sponsor, and then we'll just get straight into this, guys. Get down there if you haven't already, smash that like button for me, leave me that awesome comment, and keep being awesome. If you want to unlock Dark Matter, Abyss, and Nebula camos in Black Ops 6, or grind them extremely quickly in bot lobbies, be sure to check out MitchCactus. They're the biggest and most reliable in Call of Duty, which will help you with weekly events and rare bundle codes for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Browse their 1,500 verified Trustpilot reviews and thousands of personalized vouchers. They're the go for all your things Call of Duty. Use code BMAN for 5% off, and thanks MitchCactus for sponsoring today's video. We'll start off by showing you how easy it is to share Mr. Peaks between their community. So all it needs is to have one account that has Mr. Peaks already. Maybe you've used tools to put it on an account, whether it's an alt or whatever it is. Now, one account that does not have it as player 1 comes into the game like this. This one has Energy Mine. We then back out, we come over, and we bring player 2 in. This account is the account that has the Mr. Peaks on it. So you come across to their weapon loadout, you come in, and there's Mr. Peaks sitting there on player 2. With player 1, you come across and you back out to this screen right here. With player 2's controller, you go in, and it's that simple. Now, player 1 has the Mr. Peaks field upgrade, guys. It's this simple to be able to share it throughout the community. So ask around the Discord. Maybe someone will be able to help you out to be able to get a hold of this. It's really simple. Tools can put it on accounts. People have them on their alts and all sorts. You can get it over into your mains. Simple as, easy as. I'm over on an alt for this because I can't show you guys all the setting up of classes and all of that stuff on my main because it's already done. So for this video, I'm going to be doing it from an alt, and I'm going to be freshly setting this up so that you guys know what to do. So we're going to be covering the camo swap. We're going to be breaking the account. So I'm going to be covering how to break your account for the camo swap, guys. But take aware, anyone that doesn't already know about the details of that, you need to make sure that you do some things to be able to make use of that. Otherwise, you'll ruin stuff. So pay attention if you don't know about breaking accounts. We're going to be going along and we're going to be creating the classes that do not wipe. For this, you need to have an account that does not have any classes. Create some classes that have never been created before. So you've got loadout up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are your starting ones. These are the ones that you're going to have to delete to be able to use the ones that don't wipe. But the ones that don't wipe will have to be the ones that are created with this create new function. But when you create them, they must from their entire existence always have items in those classes that would normally wipe, and that's what creates those classes to not wipe. So as long as you never have those classes with stuff that does not wipe in them and that always got stuff in them that your profile should not have in your classes, those classes will remain broken and will not wipe. We'll get into all of that stuff, but let's just start straight off with the camo swap. For the camo swap, this one is the broken account camo swap. You need to understand a specific detail for this. You want to go along to any weapon that you wouldn't normally touch, and you want to create up to the build cap of this, so about 400. This is really fast and easy to do. All you do is go up to a weapon. I'd use the launcher. You just say Y, and you say down, AY, down, AY, down, AY, and you just do this hard out. And just keep doing this until you get to having like 400 of these. The reason for that will be explained later on. At this point, it may be confusing as to why, but it's very, very, very important. The point of doing that is so that you can turn on and turn off your camo swap broken account glitch at will, pretty much. So with that said, go along and create a heap of a launcher before you do anything else. That is step 1. Okay, for this one, I'm going to do it from private match because I'm on a low level account without any stickers, charms, or anything. So for this one, you've already gone along and you've got your heap of launchers already saved up so that you've got heaps of weapons saved on your account. Now we're going to break the account. To do this, we go along to any gun and we create 2 duplicates of it. Duplicate once, and then you duplicate the duplicate and you equip that final duplicate of the duplicate into your class in private match. Then after that, we back out into online. Now that we're online, we come along and we find those 2 duplicates and we delete those 2 duplicates. Then we head back into private match. Now that we're back in private match, we find that duplicate of the duplicate that we have equipped. We come along and we just simply make a change. Now, the second you equipped this attachment onto this gun here, your account will be broken. So we go along, we equip this, and now our account is broken. If we go along to another weapon and we say duplicate on another weapon, it's going to pull all the stuff off that weapon now. So this here, say duplicate, and now it's no longer going to create anymore. We have now got their broken account camo swap. Now, any weapon we go along to, we say create new on, and it pulls the camo off the previous gun. Now, the downside to this is if you go along and you just go to this one and I create this one, it deletes the last one that we created, right? And this is why I told you guys to create a heap of the blueprints beforehand, because you do not have any problem saving guns as long as you have weapons to delete afterwards. So after you create a blueprint, you can go along to the weapon that you have heaps stored up of, saved of, you go to one of it, and you can just say delete to that. Then you go back to the weapon that you just created with the camo on it, and you say duplicate. The first one that it created, this will get replaced when you say create new on another gun, but this one will remain. You've successfully camo swapped and saved the gun with camo swap. So we can go over to this and we can go onto this one, and now when we come back to this one, the original one's gone, but this one that we said duplicate on is still there and it remains there. Same, so we could do the same for this one. Now say you no longer want to be in the camo swap and you want to just temporarily be out of the camo swap for now, so you could continue using your account as if it was not in this broken account state. A lot of people were asking me that, so let's cover that. It's real simple. This is why I told you to make a heap of the launches, because this where the amount of blueprints on our account at that moment we broke our account is our limit, right? Now we can go down below that limit and then we're not in broken account state until we save the same amount of blueprints to get back to that point we were at when we broke our account. Once we hit the limit that we were at, the number of blueprints on our account that we were at when we broke our account gets the camo swap feature. If we delete blueprints and come under that threshold, we're no longer in that camo swapping feature. If to be back in that camo swapping feature, we just go along and create some blueprints, and then suddenly we're able to camo swap again. So with that mindset, all you need to do is go along after you've got it. We could go along and delete a whole heap of our launches if you no longer want to have camo swap active. And now we can go along and we can say create new on a weapon, and it won't come with the camos on it and things like that. We can create our guns and things like that, and they will stay, right? So that one's there. We can go over to this one and we can create this one, and the last one won't get replaced, etc, etc. So you can come in and out of the camo swap. And now if I was to go along and sorry, my console's lagging out like crazy. I can barely do anything. So if I'm to come along here and say duplicate, 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 see it's creating them, guys. And you can go along and create them until I hit that threshold of that limit that we're at before when I broke my account. So at this point here, it stopped creating them. So we're able to have all of these. So you can go in and out of camo swapping quite easily with this glitch. So that is how you camo swap. But keep in mind that once that point where you activated the camo swap, that is permanent and there is no undoing. So you need to make sure that before you activate it, you have the maximum amount of blueprints on your profile to start with, so that you don't lower your limit of how much you can have on your account. So my recommendation would be to have like over 400 launches when you do it. Simple as, easy as. Let's get into the next one. Okay, now let's show you how to create these classes that do not wipe. What we mean by that is if I come over to here to this shotgun that has a camo on it that would wipe, and we equip that shotgun Why does that not have the camo? The camo on it that wipes. We equip that shotgun, then we back out of our class and it actually wipes that out of the class. Now that's what we're talking about, but we're talking about how to create classes that do not do that. Now what you need to be able to do that is you need to have items that are locked. So you need to bring over, if you don't already have access to be able to equip items that wipe, like I do right here by the camo swap that we just showed or something like that. If you have a camo, if you don't have items that your account does not have unlocked that would wipe, the way that you can do it is using the private match to online and bring over locked items from private match. That is the same as having items that wipe because the locked items wipe. So there's different ways that you can do this. For this video, I'm going to show you using the camos that wipe. So for this video, this camo wipes. So all we need to do is we need to set this class up with items in this class that wipes out when we back out of the class. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to make sure that this class is favorited, and we need to make sure that after we create these classes down here, from that point of them being created in their entire existence, that they never have no item in their class that would cause the wiping. So it needs to always at least have one item in the class that would cause it to wipe for its entire life after you create these ones down here. So now we've got an item in here. We can say create new down here, and this will not wipe out of here. We can now go along and put another one in here with that camo on it that does not wipe, and it will not wipe out of here anymore. This class is now the class that does not wipe, and it's just this simple, guys, for those classes that do not wipe. But it's only that simple for people that aren't prestige master and things like that, and obviously with people with the ability to create these. So not everybody's going to have the ability to create these classes and have them work like this, but if you do, then you can, and well, they're just awesome. So see this one here, we just messed up and I created it without a weapon in it with a camo on it that does not wipe. So now this class here is now permanently ruined and will not ever be able to have stuff that does not wipe in this class. So if I create this here and back out of here and then come back, this one here wipes, but this one here does not. Now simply to create them like this, I just need to come up to here and put in a gun that would wipe with the camo on it that would wipe, have that favorited and say create new down here. Now this class down here is one that would permanently never wipe. This one would wipe. This one would not wipe. And this is how you go about creating these classes that do not wipe, guys. Now let's get in game and I'll show you us pulling these in Warzone. Okay guys, so we've got this, right? We've got our 3 loadouts so that you'll be able to see what you'll do after gulags and things like that as well. So we'll come along and we would delete one. Then we would duplicate another one in. So like this, we would duplicate it and we would select that from there. And then we get it with our camos and all sorts, whether or not you're using locked items or whatever it is that you're using, locked blueprints or anything, guys, you can just use them. Then say we wanted something else, so we'd go along and we weren't holding these. After a gulag, we would come back after a gulag, we would come along to the other one, we'd delete this one, and then we'd just dupe it into there. And then we'd select it from there, right? And then say we wanted to do it, we died or something, or we wanted a second loadout, we can go along, delete, duplicate it, and select it from there. Simple as, and we can just get them like that, guys. It's simple as, you can go along and you can use all of your stuff in Warzone from the loadout drops, so in Battle Royale and things like that. When we come back to here, these 3 classes that we deleted and duped into, they've gone back to what they were, and now we've got these still down here we can just delete. Now, as a way to be able to keep these things, I would highly recommend that you just don't even touch these classes up here. You don't edit these classes because there's a chance you can make it and then you can ruin it to the point where they won't actually allow these to be able to be grabbed when you dupe them into here. Now, I've had a couple times where that, so I just try and keep only 1 or 2 of these classes that I'll edit, and then these other 3, I will never touch them so that I never ruin them, and I'm always able to dupe these in to be able to use my loadouts in Battle Royale. So I like to sometimes, for my main, I have these two classes that I do mess with. This class here I have set up with legit guns that I can use in pre-lobby and stuff like that. And this gun here, I also use these here for doing blueprint pulling and blueprint merging and things like that. I use all of that stuff, these two classes. But word of what I do is I do not touch these classes, so they're always able to be used for Battle Royale to pull these classes in. These lower classes are the ones that I would have to delete to pull these classes into to be able to use them in Plunder. We'll drop in Plunder and I'll show you that. Okay, so again, just like Battle Royale, in the pre-lobby you just select the For Now class, not the classes you're trying to use with the locked items. Okay, now here in the scene, while we're in the plane, this is where we can go along and change our class for Plunder. So in Plunder, what we want to do is we want to use this class. We do not delete these ones and dupe it into these classes. For Plunder, what we do is we do the other ones that stick. So we go down to here, we can go along to this one, we can say delete on this, then we can dupe this one down to there and use it from there. Now, when we go in, it's going to go along and we're going to have those guns all game long. It's just that simple, and it won't wipe. So when we spawn down, here we go, we've got the XM4 already leveling it up. And here you see we have the gun here with the camo. Simple as, easy as. You won't be able to use both the weapons in the class. It'll be like only a gunfighter perk being able to be used. So in Plunder, if you're trying to make your classes for Plunder, I would highly recommend that you just make gunfighter perk guns. So 8 attachment builds on one gun, because that one gun, even if it's got 8 attachments, will spawn in. But even if you've got 2 guns and overkill wildcard, your second gun just won't spawn in Plunder. So for Plunder, just run, if you're trying to run camos you don't own in that, make classes with gunfighter wildcard and use those ones, right? And then you can still do it in thing. Weird, but it is what it is. How to do this Dragon's Breath swapping with this. So now that you've got the broken account, it's quite simple, quite easy. You find a gun that, like this one here, that has Dragon's Breath on it as the blueprint, and then all you do is you go across to that gun, go across to it when I find it, and then you just say duplicate on that gun. Once you duplicate it on that gun, you can go to any of the other guns that would run that sort of ammo. You just say create new on that gun. And it's going to come with that Dragon's Breath ammo. And this is how you get the Dragon's Breath and attachments and things like that onto other guns, guys, and all sorts, guys. It's just that simple. And also, the people wanting to know that you can also use this once you've got the broken account. It's really useful for doing things like invisible guns like this. So you would go along and we would select this thing here, this blueprint here, Bone Shard. We select this. We come across to here, come to the CHF barrel and select that. Then we go to the suppressor and I select the monolithic suppressor. Then I go along and we can come across and we can say create new. It's going to pull all those attachments over, but now we no longer have the Mastercraft restrictions. Now we come along to here, we select the Scourge blueprint, and then when we select the next one, all the barrel and that disappears. We can now go along and merge it with this thing here, and now we have a really cool looking, crazy, customized, modified blueprint and all sorts, guys. So once you break your account, there's lots of really cool things that you're able to do with this, guys. So check out my other videos and all sorts. You might find some cool stuff that you didn't know in the past. How to pull these melee weapons. Okay, now for the melee weapons, when you pull melee weapons and things like that, they're going to be the same. You're going to have to just do it into a class that's favorited, and then you'll need to delete one of these classes and duplicate down into this class like you see here. So like I pulled the melee blueprint in here, and then I put it down into here, and this is a class where it will stick in, and then I'll duplicate it from this class like you do to use these classes in game. Whatever you do in game to use these classes for whatever mode you're in is how you're going to have to use it. it, but you pull the merely blueprint from this class. Then before you leave here, you will dupe it down and you'll leave it down in here, and this is where you'll dupe it from when you're in game and stuff like that. Okay guys, not this class up here. This is just the class we're using to pull it. So with that said, let's get into it. So we go along and we equipped the weapon that we're trying to pull a blueprint for. For us, we're going to be doing the pickaxe. Okay, then we back out to this screen here, then we go back in. Now what we do is we need to go along and we want to select a weapon that pulls the variant we're after. So I know that Scratch pulls that melee weapon that we just hit. So what we do is we go along and I equip Scratch here. Then we need to go into here and we need to either equip a Modern Warfare weapon with the Dragon's Breath rounds, or go along and equip the gun that has a camo that we're not allowed. Either one, does not matter what you choose. You equipped either one into your class, but all the point of this is it's going to create your class to wipe. So we back out to here. Our class wipes back to what was there previously, and when it does it, it turns our melee weapon into the blueprint. And it's just that simple. Now we've just pulled this blueprint here. Now guys, you've got a broken account camo swap at the moment, so maybe you wanted to pull this with a camo, right? So if I wanted to pull it with a camo, I could go to a camo that I have, say this camo here. I could dupe this and get that camo. I could come down to here and I could put the pickaxe with that camo. Create new, and I've got the pickaxe with this camo. Then I can back out. Then I can come in and we've got this with this camo. We go along, we select the weapon that pulls the blueprint we're after. So I know Scratch blueprint pulls the right weapon. Then we come to here and we either select Dragon's Breath. We'll show you Dragon's Breath doing it. We select a Dragon's Breath, right? Oh, it's Modern Warfare weapon, so for convenience, we won't. We will go along and select a camo that we don't own. It's easier. Then we back out of here. We come back in and we have the blueprint sitting there. But we also have it camo swapped and everything, guys. It's just that simple. Now we could go along and we could come to this, any weapon that we choose we like that's got camos on it we don't like. I could equip this into here. We could come across to here to another weapon that's got camos on it that we don't own, like this here. Now after this we can come along, we could say delete to this, we can have that as favorite, and then we say create new. It puts it down here, and now we have this in this class set up. So now when we come back out of here, you'll have trouble using that melee weapon from this class, so just ignore it being in this class. This is just the class you use to pull it, but we will use it down here from this class the same way that you use all these classes and everything else, guys. Okay guys, now this is how you will have to actually get the class out of these broken classes, the same as last season. So as you have these classes that do not wipe, what you need to do, and then you have the top classes, right, explained in the other tutorials which teach you how to actually do this. You delete the top class, then we go along and we duplicate this one into this top class and we select it from there. And as you see, there we go guys, we've got the new DLC weapons, camo swapped onto them and everything, guys. So there's many other ways to be able to do this, but for this I'm going to show you two other ways that you'll be able to do it that don't require all of these special classes and things like that, and people that are prestige master and all sorts of things like that will be able to do this way. So with that said, this way does have a requirement. Now you already have the camos that you do not own because you're trying to use them, so we'll start off with the camo one. What you need to do is you need to have two builds of a base gun. It can be any gun, but it just needs to have two builds, two of the same gun, right? And for this I'm using the XM4. You need to have one build that has the camo that you don't own, that wipes, that you're trying to use with no attachments on that gun, and it needs to be a base gun like this. You need a second build of the gun that is the same, but on this gun, this can have a camo that does not wipe, that you want to be able to camo swap over. This camo will remain on the gun when you end the game, game, but this gun here needs to have one attachment. Then what you need to do is when we get in game, we need to swap to this gun here with no attachment and the camo we don't have. Then we need to back out and come back in and swap to the one with one attachment. Then we need to back out and come back in and then swap to the one with the camo on it. Then the gun that we started with will suddenly have this camo on it, and we'll be able to run that gun with a camo. And then after that, we'll be able to go along and we'll be able to apply select our gun that we want as our secondary that already has a camo saved onto it. So this one here. Now these camos here wipe. If I'm to put them in my class and back out and then come to here, they no longer in the class. Those camos wipe, and those are the types of camos that you were talking about for this video. So this is what we're going to be showing you guys and how we're going to be showing you guys how to use this stuff. So I'll get in game and we'll show you exactly this. Okay, so we're loading in and we're just going to do it in the pre-lobby. In the pre-lobby, all we do is we just got to swap this gun to those other guns, the XM4, the 3 swaps. And then we just go along and we equip whatever weapon we want as our secondary, whether it's Dragon's Breath gun, and for this video it's going to be. So then after we get our camo on the primary, we just go along and we will equip this here, which also has a camo on it that that would normally wipe as well. This has an unowned nuke camo. So we're going to be running an unowned nuke camo and Dragon's Breath as our secondary, and we're going to be running this sniper here with the cool no glint scope and everything as our primary with a camo on it that we don't own. We'll put dark matter onto this. Okay, so we've loaded in game. What we do is we select our class and we simply just do the swap. So we go across, we go into our class and we swap to, for me it's the XM4, whatever gun you've got the camo saved on. So swap to the camo, that would wipe. Then we back out to this screen, we come back in and we just swap to the one that we've got with the attachment. That camo that's on that gun will be on the gun when we get back to the menus. Then we go into the third swap and we swap to the camo that we want to run on the gun. So for me it's dark matter, that's a camo that wipes. Back out, and now we can finish off this class by going along, and as the secondary we can put in whatever weapon of choice we want to run, whether it's camos we don't own, Dragon's Breath, or whatever. So we select that, and now this class here is good to go for the rest of the game. We have no problems using that all game long with those classes. So we'll load into game, I'll get to my loadout and I'll show you us grabbing that. You don't have to duplicate the loadouts or anything to be able to grab it or anything like that. All you have to do is just that step at the start of the game. Yes, you do have to do that for this method every game to be able to use it, and for this method, that's the downside to this, but it's minor, it's easy to do it, and then you get to use all those camos. And all we do is just select our loadout, and there you go, see there, it comes with our Dragon's Breath, with our camos on it, and everything, guys. It's just this simple, and it's hassle free. And if we were to go along to the gulag and need to select our loadout again, we can just grab it the second time. We don't have to duplicate our loadouts or anything to use it. You've got you've got your overkill class, so you've got 2 weapons with camos you don't own, able to use Dragon's Breath and everything. And this method is the better method. It's a little bit more hassle at the start of the pre-lobby, but it's the better method for doing everything. So we've got different classes now, and we just come back from the gulag, right, and we need to hit our class again. We could just simply come back and re-get that same class, and again, reselecting the class, we have no problem selecting our stuff, guys. Simple as, easy as. Poor dude just got destroyed. Dragon's Breath, hey guys, Dragon's Breath it. Now this one's more restricted. You can't do the secondary and the primary with this one. You can only do one weapon. So this one's quite good for like gunfighter weapons and that, which you only run, the classes you're only running the one weapon, where you're going to be grabbing a second class and stuff like that. So for this, I'm going to be showing you how to do it on this one. What we're going to be running in this one is we're going to run this gun here with a Borealis, which would wipe. So if we were to select that into there and back out, it would wipe out of our class, and we cannot normally run this. So let's show you guys how to run this one. It's really simple, really easy. As soon as we get in game, we need to not touch this class until after we've edited it and put in the Borealis gun before we touch this class and select this class when we're in game. So when we're in game, we have a different class favorited, so we don't automatically have this this class. As soon as we load in game, we go along and we edit this class, and then what we do is we go along and we equip the gun with the camo that would normally wipe. And then after that, we do not touch this class during pre-lobby, and then we can get this class from our loadouts and it will come with the gun without it wiping out of our class. Let's load in and show you guys exactly that. Now, with both of these methods, you can do them either in the pre-lobby or you can do them at the loadout itself in the edit option, or when you're actually on your loadouts. So what we do is, for this method here, all we do is before we select our loadout, we're in loadout 2, we go edit, and then we go along and we select the one with the bore. Now we can go along and we can select this. We can even run this in the pro lobby now, as long as you edit it before you select it, and we'll have it with this gun, we're able to run this gun. It's just this simple, guys. And now we can get this gun from our loadouts and everything like that. But the downside to this one is we can't run a secondary with the camos we weren't able to use. With this method here, you can only run one weapon with the camo in your class. Okay, we've got 2 loadouts here. Let's show you guys this now. So this method here, as you see, for this method, all we need to do is you come along and then we just select the one and it'll just work, guys. It's just this simple with this one too, but this one you can only have one gun with the camo. Then if we were to go along and we wanted another gun, maybe we wanted this one here. If we were to go along and we would edit this first and go along to nuke one and then select it, it comes along just like that. As long as you edit it first, we get the nuke camo. So you can do it on the loadout as well, or you can do it in the pre-lobbies and you can get the camos, and you can do it over 2 loadouts and you can still get your 2 weapons. If you want 2 primaries, that might be a better way of doing it, and then you don't have to worry about swapping through 3 weapons to be able to do it. But it's just whatever works for you. And go out there, and this way here is better for if you've got blueprints that don't have, well, you're trying to run camos that aren't on blueprints, because the first method requires the camo that you're actually applying the camo to, it has to be a blueprint for it to work. But this method here, you don't have to be done with blueprints for it to work. How to pull blueprints. Now this one can get technical, guys, and it pretty much, what I'm going to show you here is how it works, but I'm not going to show you how to target pull, because it really comes down to everybody's profiles have different stuff and they're able to mix different things, so whatever the results will be mixed for depending on what you started with, etc. So what I'm going to show is I'm going to show you the basics, and then you're pretty much on your own to actually find out exactly what exact attachment build setup and everything will get exact perfect result you're after if you're trying to complete blueprints. But with that said, let's get in and show you guys the basics so you understand it. How it will work is when you're trying to pull blueprints for Black Ops 6 weapons, you want to start from a build that has 8 attachments on it. If you start from a build with 8 attachments on it, you will be able to put up to 7 attachments onto the blueprint that you pull without it wiping the look of the blueprint away. Now, if you start with less than 8 attachments, you will not be able to put 7 attachments onto the gun. Now, it's possible to start with less and it work if you don't add all attachments out on the result gun, but for best results, start with guns with 8 attachments in Black Ops when you're trying to pull Black Ops 6 weapons. Now, that does no longer matter if you're trying to pull Modern Warfare weapons. If you're trying to pull blueprints for Modern Warfare weapons, you do not need to worry about having 8 attachments on your guns. You start with guns with only 5 attachments. Make sure that the guns do have the full 5 attachments, and when you pull a build, you will only be able to put up to 4 attachments onto that build. Ignore how here it shows it's got 6. It's in game, it's only got 4. So yeah, your Modern Warfare weapons that you pull will only be able to equip up to 4 attachments on them, and your Black Ops 6 weapons you're able to equip up to 7. So let's get in and show you guys the blueprint pulling. Okay, so for blueprint pulling, the attachment skins and everything affect everything. So you could have one build and then you'll change the skins on one of the attachments and it will actually change the result of the blueprint that it pulls and all sorts of stuff. So you'll have to play around making different builds that you start with from what you have on your profile and see what it can pull. Also, you can get different results when you pull it onto a base weapon, or when you pull it over a blueprint weapon, you can actually have different results as well. So if you have some blueprints that you own that have no attachments on them like this, and you dupe over onto these, you'll actually be able to merge blueprints as well. So in this video, I'm going to show you us merging. I'm going to pull this blueprint, so it's got that eagle look on it. I'm going to actually pull that over top of this, merge it with this blueprint, and then we're going to add up to 7 attachments and have like a meta build for the PP with this gun here. So we're going to use this to pull it. Now this is going to be the example you'll be able to use. So if you are doing this for Modern Warfare weapons, keep in mind you will have to start from 5 attachments and only add up to 4 after you've pulled it. Now I'm doing a Black Ops weapon. I'm going to start with 8 attachments and I'm going to add 7 after I pull it. I'll see you in game and we'll do exactly this. Now all we're going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to be swapping to this weapon here that has the camo on it that wipes, that we've shown you how to dupe these over to your accounts and everything. Or if you're doing a Modern Warfare weapon and you're only going to be adding 4 attachments, you're able to use the Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3 shotguns that have a Dragon's Breath attachment equipped. But for me, I prefer to use the shotgun that has a camo that I'm not allowed because I'm able to do up to 7 attachments. Okay. So we've loaded in game, we select our class, we hover in the air, and all we do is we go along and select the gun that has the camo that we don't have unlocked, that wipes, right? We back out of our class, we come back in, and then we come back, and now we select the gun that we want to pull the blueprint on. We want to merge it with the other one. So we select this class here. As you can see, when we load down, it's not that Mastercraft. It's actually pulling a blueprint over that, and we're merging the 2 blueprints right here. So it's at the tongue of the Mastercraft. It says the Mastercraft, but it's not. It's really cool. Now we can go along, and right now on this game, we go and complete this build. So we pull the attachment skins for attachments when we do this too. As you see here, it's getting the attachments. We just have to make sure that we don't add more than 7 attachments, because otherwise if we add the 8th attachment, we will lose all the look that we're going for. So now we've pulled this, we have a cool blueprint that's mixed merged, so it's the blueprint we don't own merged with the blueprint we do own, and it's got skins, so the look from lots of all sorts of blueprints we don't own on the attachments merged together to make one awesome cool build, guys. This is absolutely awesome. So when we go down, we'll show you that, and then we're not done yet. We need to finalize this before we leave the match by going back and selecting the shotgun that, or whatever gun you have that has the camo you're not allowed. So here it is here. It fully works like this. Now to finalize this, we come back in and we go back to that gun and we put that in our class, and then we can go along and say leave game. And now we've finalized this in our class. It's there for the next game, and you do not have to do that process every game. Now we can just use that as if we could use any other gun in our class as normal, guys. Now it looks like this in the menu system, but it looks different in game, and it will still be the gun that we had when we were in game. So now let's load in game and let's show you guys how to run this with all sorts of camos on it that you normally cannot run. Now this part, to run these with the camos, you'll want to have the camos already saved on any gun, but just on a base variant of a gun. So I'm doing it on the XM4. You need to have it set up with base gun, no attachments on it, with a camo that wipes that you're not able to use. Then you need a second setup on that of that gun on the base gun with 1 attachment on it with either a camo that you want to stick, so you can camo swap over to your gun and it will remain on your gun. So for this video, we will select this one here, and we will actually end up with Constellation's End on our gun after the game. So then the second game, we won't even have to worry about swapping camos on it. We'll just be able to use it with this camo here on it too, guys. So you'll also be able to use it to be able to permanently camo swap onto it. But also, for that game, we are going to run it with a camo that does wipe. So we've got a camos that we don't have, that we want to run on it, need to be on blueprints that don't have any attachments on it, like this, so we could run dark matter on it. The one that we want to stick onto it needs to have the camo on the gun that has one attachment on it. It's just that simple. So we have two gun setups. One with a camo that we want to use that's not able to be used, that's wipes with no attachments. Then we have the setup that has one attachment, and this one has the camo that we want to get stick that does not wipe. So this is a spare camo that's not unlocked on that gun, but you've got unlocked on another gun, or a camo like a Modern Warfare Prestige camo that does not wipe. And that's all we need to do. So then we'll need to get in game. We will swap to the camo that does wipe. Then after that we'll back out and we'll come back in. We will swap to the gun that we want, this one here with the one attachment. We will back out, then we'll go back in, and then we'll swap to this one. We will be able to run this camo on the gun for that entire game. After that game, our gun will have this camo here on it in the menus, and from that point on, and we could just run the gun with that camo, or the next game we could do the same process again and run the gun with this camo for that game. It's up to us how we run it. So let's get in game and show you that right now. Okay, so we've got in game and we've got our gun. This is that gun that we just had built last game, right? So as you see, it loads in fine without any issues. Now we can go along and we want to go to the gun that has the no attachments but a camo you're not able to use, right? Back out. It doesn't apply the gun, right? Then we go into the camo that we want to stick, so our Mercury Constellation's End camo with one attachment. As you see, it applies it to the gun and it sticks. It's just that easy. Now we go along and we select the gun with the camo that we want to use, right? And we can use this camo for this entire game on this gun. Then at the end, when we go back to our menus, we have our gun with Constellation's End on it, and if we wanted to run it with this camo that we have it on now, we can simply just do again what we just done just then to be able to get this camo back onto this gun for this game. So yes, the camos that you're not meant to be able to run that wipe, you do have to do a step to be able to get them to work each game, but it's still possible even to run them on the blueprints that you've pulled that you do not own and everything like that, guys. And on these pulled blueprints like this stuff, you're not going to have to duplicate your classes and things like that to be able to get them to work. They just work. So if you to dupe over Constellation's End onto it or something like that, then you won't even have to do something every game. You can just use your classes and everything every game. Simple as, easy as. We've got unowned camos, full setups with 7 attachments on them and everything, guys, and it just all works fine. Absolutely perfectly, guys. And when we get back to the menus, as I said, it's just going to have the camo from the other gun. So it's a camo swap and everything too. So here we go here, we'll come back and there's our gun just going to be sitting there with Constellation's End sitting on it. And that sticks there. So that's just that simple, guys. Simple as, easy as. Now you've got pretty much everything. You've got mealies covered, camo swapping for the mealies and everything, guys. And everything that's happening here in Warzone for the blueprint pulling works exactly the same over in multiplayer. So apply this exact same stuff that you've seen here to be able to pull blueprints and everything in Warzone. Apply that over in multiplayer and you'll be able to do all of that over in multiplayer. So now you guys know how to pull blueprints and everything, customize them, complete them, get them looking cool and everything, guys, with no issues. You've got everything. Okay, now they're up to how to do 6 attachments and 9 attachment builds for Black Ops 6 weapons and 6 attachment builds for Modern Warfare weapons. So we're going to go along and show you this right here. As you see here, it says it's got 6 attachments. We equipped it. It allows us to run this with overkill, so we don't need gunfighter perk, and it's actually got active 6 attachments. And when we inspect the weapon in game, it actually shows the 6 attachments active. Now, the downside to this is there's a positive. You can save them like this, like you just seen. I'll show you. There's a special way to make them save with the 6 attachments too. So we'll be able to save them like this. Now, the only downside is that you can only have them in your class for one game. At the end of the game, the game automatically deletes an attachment off the gun that's in your class. So after the game, you'll come back and you'll be missing an attachment. The simple solution to that is all you do is before you go into another game, you have to come in and you just re-equip the gun, and it will be re-equipped there with the 6 attachments, as long as you make sure you save the gun with the 6 attachments onto it. So let's get in and show you guys how to build these guns with 6 attachments, because they're a lot better than the normal ones, because pretty much you're building a meta iron sight build and then you're getting an optic on an iron sight build, making it that much better. So that's what I'm going to teach you right now. Okay, so we come along and we select the class. This class only has the 5 attachments at this point. Now we come along, we change the weapon to the one that has the camo we're not able to use, and that one sight, we select that. We back out, we come back in, and then all we do is we come to that weapon, we remove that optic, and we re-put that same optic back on. Now that is done. It's just that simple. Now we can leave game and we have that class built with the 6 attachments, and it will work. Now all we need to do is make sure we save it with the 6 attachments so we can re-equip it into our class each game. So we come out. Sometimes when you come to here, the dark matter gun can still be in your class, and if it is, just back out of here to the play screen and come back. For this, for us, it's not. So we come in, and here you see here we have the 6 attachments. Now to save this with 6 attachments, you replace the optic. Don't replace or change anything else on this gun, but optic was the 6th attachment. We need to go along, change the optic, then go back and change the optic again. Now this gun gets saved with the 6 attachments on it, and we can now use this in game with 6 attachments. We'll load in game and we'll show you this working with the 6 attachments. Okay, so we've loaded in, and we might as well show you this too, that this gun here has its camo and stuff on it. This was that gun that we pulled. We run with the nuke camo, and then we camo swapped on the Constellation's end onto it, and as you see here, it works with all of that. Now also, as you see here, we have this gun, and as you see there, it shows all 6 attachments working when we inspect the gun. It's working with all 6 attachments and everything, guys. Simple as, easy as, no problem. You can just run them just like that. Now, when you get out into the menus with those ones, sometimes after a game, it can wipe one of the attachments off, like I said, on that 6 attachment build. So we'll come into here and it will sometimes wipe it off, but then sometimes it won't. Like in this case, it didn't, so it doesn't even matter. But if there is the case where that does happen, all you have to do is just go back and re-equip that gun, and it's simple as, easy as. So in this case, it's just gone along and it's equipped gunfighter into this class. So it does some random things, but those things are nothing really of an issue. You just go and re-equip the gun and you got it sorted. Is with Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3's Dragon's Breath rounds. So to get that, you need to have a blueprint with it. You either already have a blueprint with it, or you can go along to here to the Bryson 890 and you can get a really cheap blueprint with it. Just come across to the shop and it's still available in the shop right now. Come across to the exhaust pipe blueprint, and for 500 COD points, you can get this bundle right here, Hot Rod bundle, and it comes with this blueprint right here, which has the Dragon's Breath rounds on it. So if you need to get the Dragon's Breath round, this is a way that you can obtain the Dragon's Breath. Go and buy that bundle, and then you'll be able to use that Dragon's Breath rounds off that gun to be able to do everything you see me doing in this video. Now with that said, once you've obtained your Dragon's Breath rounds on your weapon, what you want to do is for the camo swap side of things, when we get to camo swapping, you will want to have lots of different variants of that same blueprint, so that same gun with all the Dragon's Breath rounds on it, and lots of different variants of it with all your different camos that you want to apply to your other guns. So go along and store the camos on that Dragon Breath gun to be able to camo swap with the Dragon's Breath weapon. So we're going to load into game and we're going to show you exactly what to do. How I'm going to turn this blueprint here into the CAMOS for the STG. So with this, keep in mind, I'm not in the broken account state. So what I mean by that is if I go along and duplicate something, it actually creates the duplicate and I can go along and create another one too, right? I can go along and delete these so that you guys know that understand the broken account part, that's not in play for this stuff. You do not need a broken account to be able to do this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to start off with this blueprint here in my class. For the peace of mind for people, it's reset to default. It's just this blueprint. Then I'm going to load into game and I'm going to do the steps. I'll display on screen the steps too for people that want it written out for them, and I'll also go along and explain it as I go. Now I don't have time to do this very much because the mode that I'm using is Battle Royale Casuals Resurgence, so I literally have 36 seconds in the pre-lobby to get this done. So I'm going to go through it really fast. I have the steps written on the screen so you guys can slow down and pause and see and read the steps as well. So with that said, let's go and show you exactly how to do this. So we've found a match, and now the first game is when we pull the blueprint and we set the blueprint up. We want to get it with the attachments on it. I'm going to show you this done twice like I did in the pre-lobby at the start of this video. I'm going to show it twice. I'm going to show you first me getting the CAMOS blueprint with the CAMOS barrel, and then the second time I'm going to also show you guys us doing the same thing, but we're going to get a different result, and the only difference will be the order in which I select the attachments. So take note of what order I select these attachments in, because that order is going to change the result next time. So let's go in and show you this. Okay, we load in, we select our class, then we quickly go along and we select our gun with our dragon's breath on it. Then we back out of our class, go back in, and we quickly go along and we select the gun that we want a blueprint for. We say create new and on the base weapon. Then we quickly go through and we do our attachments. So for this, I want to set up in this specific order. Take note of the order I'm doing it in. The next time we do this, it's going to be different. Then we come along and we set this up just like this. We have to be fast because I don't have much time to do this in the pre-lobby. And then I have to end this by going along and selecting the gun that has the Dragon's Breath rounds on it. After I end with the Dragon's Breath rounds gun in my class, I say leave match. Now I have to be fast doing that. As you've seen, I have Vix and no time in the pre-lobby for where I'm doing it. So for me, I have to be really fast. But I've written it on screen, the steps, just follow those steps. This is just me showing you that those steps work exactly as they're written. So then we come back to here, and here we have the gun here, and we've pulled this barrel here for the CAMOS, right? Now you won't see the actual base of the gun being the CAMOS variant, but in game it displays a different variant to what it shows in the menus. So what you need to take note when you're pulling is the variant that you're holding when you're in game. We didn't get to see this in game, but just know that this one is the variant that has the CAMOS variant. When we get back in game, we'll actually show you, and I'll be in when we get in game, this variant here is going to have the CAMOS variant with this barrel on it and look cool. And next step, we'll be able to go along and apply the camos to this. But before we apply the camos, I'm going to show you this variant like this, and then we're going to go along and we're going to do the exact same thing we just done here. But you've seen how I applied the attachments just then? What I did is I applied a stock, then I applied a magazine, then I applied the suppressor, then I applied the barrel, then I undone this, undone the stock, I reapplied a stock, and then I applied the optic. That got me this result right here. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go in, we're going to use the exact same blueprint to pull, we're going to do exact same steps, but instead I'm going to apply the muzzle first, I'm going to apply this second, we're going to then go and apply the stock, apply the magazine, undo the stock, redo this stock on, and then apply the optic. All the exact same attachments as this time, but you're going to notice that we're going to actually result a different barrel pulled, all just because of the order in which we equip these attachments in. So that does matter. Let's go in and show you guys that right now, and then after that we'll go through and we'll show you guys how to apply all these camos and stuff. So let's go along to this thing here. We'll quickly go in and we'll put it back to that same gun that we just had before. this weapon right here. We'll come along and we'll set this to favorite so it's at the top. Now this is the other one we just pulled just a second ago. We'll go back to that in a second, or we'll carry on from this one. Let's go in game, and now we'll do the pull process again, and you'll notice that we'll get a different result. Okay, so we load in, we select our class, and then we quickly do just the same that we just done before. We go across to our Dragon Breath weapon, we equipped it, we back out to the loadout, then we come back in, and then we say create new on our STG, the base. Then we go to the muzzle this time first, we go to the barrel second, then we go to the stock, the same attachments we done last time, those ones. Then we undo that, equip that, come across to here and equip the exact same attachments as we done just last time. Then we go along to the shotgun to finish it, so we come across to complete it. Make sure that you do this, otherwise all that stuff won't stick. Equip the shotgun with the Dragon's Breath at the end, and then we say leave game. You'll notice though, this time we don't have the Cosmos barrel. We have a different barrel. The only difference that we done is the order in which we actually selected the attachments to put onto this gun, guys. And that is just how much things can change just by being orders, guys. Okay, so I need to stress that to you. So if you're having trouble completing a variant, maybe it might be as simple as you just changing the order in which you're selecting blueprints. Maybe it might be super complicated and you might not even have the items to be able to complete it. I can't answer that, and only way you could answer that is if going out there and trying. So these two weapons here with these two different barrels were built from the exact same blueprint with the exact same attachments applied and everything. The only difference is the order in which these attachments were applied. So with that said, that ends that. Now let's get on to how to apply your camos to all of these using Dragon's Breath, and then we'll get into how to apply and run unowned camos on these. Okay, now to apply the camos, we do that in game as well. Now all we need for this is we just have a gun in our class that we're going to apply the camo for. So this is the gun that we just pulled just before, the Cosmos variant. It's actually the variant as well. Then once we get in game, all we need to do is go along, swap to the gun that has the Dragon's Breath rounds on it, and then we want a second copy of a gun with the Dragon's Breath rounds on it that has the camo applied to that we want to swap onto our blueprint. And that's that simple. After we swap to that second weapon of Dragon's Breath, then we can just leave game, and when we get back to the menus, that camo is going to be applied to the blueprint that we've already got in our class pulled right now. So let's go in and show you guys that happen right now, and then after that we'll show you how to run camos that you do not own, if your profile has them. I will not be showing you in this video how to obtain those camos. That is in previous videos. Now we load in game and we've got our gun, right? This is the blueprint that we pulled, the Cosmos blueprint. We go across to our shotgun with the camo on it, or with the Dragon's Breath rounds, and we select one. It will not change and apply that camo yet. We just need to do it a second time. So we go in and we select our second one. And now that camo will apply to this gun. Now we have the Cosmos variant with the Cosmos barrel, variant's barrel and everything, and with the camo applied. We can now just say leave match, and now that camo is applied. Next game, we don't have to do anything to be able to use that camo on that gun or anything from this point going forward. We can now just run that as from this point on as if it was a gun that we owned and everything. That class is now set up. We can go in, you can just get them, you don't have to do anything silly to be able to select the classes from loadouts or in plunder and battle royale or anything. It will just work. So simple as, easy as, you can now go out there and that's how you camo swap onto the guns for guns that you've pulled and even guns that you haven't pulled. As long as you've got the camos stored on your guns with the Dragon's Breath rounds on them, and you've got more than one copy of the Dragon's Breath rounds, you can go along and the second one that you swap to is the camo that applies. It's just that simple, guys. Go out there and apply your camos. Okay, we're going to start off by showing you guys this account, because in this I'm going to show you how to dupe for zombies and also how to dupe the loadouts for multiplayer and the private match and things like that. So as you see over here, this class here, this profile, it's level 51 and it just has nothing on all of its multiplayer, Warzone, and in its online classes. They're just all blank, because the only thing this profile is actually leveled up at all has been in the past doing the jet gun glitch in zombies. So you'll see here, if we go through all of this thing's classes, just so you can see, this is what they look like. They're empty. But next time we come here, because we're going to be duping over, those won't be empty and they will look identical to my mains account that we're going to be duping from. So if we come into here, this thing here, as you see, still has a wonder weapon from back when we were doing the wonder weapon glitch. We'll just go in and wipe that out and then we'll be ready for that. So we'll come into here, we'll come along, we'll say change, and we'll put something different into here, just something like this, and now we don't have that in there and we're ready to go along and do the dupes. So now we can come into here and we no longer have a wonder weapon. Cool thing is we still got the top 250 camo on our katana too, but we're not going to worry about that. Now you see that we're back to, this is how the account is. It's practically like got nothing on the account and it's just got a base XM4 here. We've got no blueprints saved or anything, no camos or anything on this account, and we want to change that. So we're going to change that right now. I was just showing you this account prior so you guys can see the changes, so you guys can see it actually happen. Okay. Now, log into the game with player 1, the player that's going to be receiving all the dupes. Player 2 is going to be the profile that you're duping from, and player 1 will be the one receiving all the dupes. Now, log into the game, and when you first time come into the game here, the very first time you go into the zombies, you will need it to not double log in. You're about to see the double login because I have that bug, and I have to restart the console, so it's a good way to show you guys this. Now, if you have this double login, then everything will be backwards and it won't stick. So make sure you do what I'm doing here to get rid of it. So when you first come into zombies, we come into here, and the first time I come into my loadout and then back out, I get this sort of weird screen. See this here? This is the double login that we talk about. Now, if that happens to you, then everything that I'm about to show you from here is going to work backwards. It's not going to dupe player 2 stuff over player 1's. It's going to dupe player 1 stuff over player 2's. It won't stick in their classes, and you're going to have all sorts of problems. So what you need to do is restart your console and get it so that when the very first time you come into here, you back out of here, it just backs out like this nicely, okay? And it doesn't do what it just done before. So to fix that, what I have to do is I have to go along, quit. You have to make sure you close all the quick resumes, and then we just restart our console, and then we'll load back up. So I'll see you back after the restart. Okay, so we've restarted and done the restart. We're loading back in, and this time we should have it fixed. So we'll come back in. If it doesn't, for some weird reason for you that doesn't fix it, just do it again. That's all you really can do. So with that said, we'll come over to here, and when we first come into here, and then we back out, it no longer does that weird stuff. See, so it's fixed it for me. That's all I need to do. I just do that and it fixes it. Now we're ready to go along and do the dupe. So we need to bring in player 2. If you can't bring in player 2, go to your party settings and set your party. If your party settings are set to closed, you're not able to bring in player 2. Set it to open, and then that might fix your problem if you can't bring in player 2. So at this point, we bring in player 2. Player 2 is the account that you're duping from. They already have all of their classes set up for with the stuff that you want to duplicate into them in multiplayer already, because this is going to also duplicate the multiplayer classes. So we've just brought in player 2. We come across with player 2 to player 2's classes. This is player 2's classes. As you see above me for your guys' information, the class that I'm in currently says up there. So if I'm in player 2's, that's blue with P2. If I'm in player 1's classes, it's yellow with P1. Same when we're over in multiplayer. So as you see, this is player 2's class, and we come to here, player 2 decides the gun and the camo. So player 2 has the Fafar in their class with dark matter on it. So we're going to dupe that over to player 1's account. So all we do with player 2 is we get player 1 now to back all the way out with player 1's controller from this point here. We back out to this screen right here. With player 2's controller, we go into this screen. And that's all we need to do with player 2 from this point for what we're doing. Now we come across with player 1 to their loadouts, and they will have player 2's gun there. You've now duped the classes over. You can go along and save this, it will do whatever. So you could go along and make a simple change to this gun, and it will save it. Now we have that gun saved with that camo. So now this account has dark matter on it, right? Simple as, easy as, we can duplicate it. This account is not broken yet. We will get on and show you guys how to break it possibly in this video, but I already have a tutorial, so I haven't decided whether or not that's going to be in this video yet. So here we go here. We've now saved that gun, but we're not only doing the zombie stuff, we want to do multiplayer. So to do multiplayer, what we want to do is back out of here with player 1's controller after doing the dupe. Then with player 2's controller, you want to go into multiplayer. Then with player 2's controller, you go over to the weapons tab and into their weapons. Then you back out, and with player 1's controller, you go across to the loadouts and back to the weapons. We come in, and now player 1 has all of player 2's classes here. We can simply go along, and if we want, we can make a change to this. So we go along and equip this, and now this class from player 1 is going to be over, and player 2 is going to be in player 1. We can go along to this and make a change to this and do this, and now we have these ones here, right? So we're going to have those into that class. Now with this thing here, we could go along, and if we wanted, we could go down to here. Do we have it? No, we don't have overkill in this class. Hang on, guys. Happened to be that we didn't do any classes over with overkill. So now what we do is we can back out of here, and we can go into private match. So we can come over to private match. You can save all of those things over in online. I'm just showing you guys that you can get the classes there. I'm not going to muck around showing you me saving them all individually. Now we come across to our loadouts, and we come into our class, and player 1 has all of player 2's loadouts here in private match, including blueprints and things like that. So you can go along, and all you do is you can just simply make any change to something, and then you save that blueprint. So now we have that blueprint saved on this class as well, and it's just that simple. We have these classes here, and see this one here with the name and things like that. We can simply just come across to here, make a change to this class like this, and you see this name, this will stick into this class. So if you're even trying to dupe over custom named classes from one profile to another profile, you can do all of that stuff. So you can pretty much dupe everything over with these classes and everything, guys. So this is how you dupe in zombies and in multiplayer. So like you see here, we've duped over, we've gone along, I just went over, I went with player 2, went and changed their guns, put some camos on. So now we've got this thing here with the black cells camo on it and things like that. This alt obviously doesn't have any of those camos or stuff like that. And we can go along, and we could go along and save that. So we could simply put a sticker on this, and now we'll have that gun there with that camo saved. So we come across to the Olympia, and there's that gun there with that camo on it. So you can use this to bulk do over the camos and all sorts of different things and all sorts, guys. Now lots of camos will wipe and things like that, but like you see here, this camo here, this Olympia black cell is actually a camo that would normally wipe, but we'll be showing you guys how to run all of these items that you don't own, and even like this, quite simple, quite easily as well. Main easiest way to go about it is you just say create new, but don't be careful, because there's special doing this here, these classes here will rename sticks. Like so. Now this class here will be able to use this as long as we say set to favorite, and then we create one more class. These two, what we have to do to use the guns in this class here, we need to duplicate them over this thing here, and then we'll be able to run it in this class here. And this is how these classes here will work after this custom loadout here. I have a full guide that actually really full in-depth explains this, and we'll explain this a little bit more when we get into Warzone and using guns in in Warzone, but for now, this is going to explain how to use locked weapons and locked camos and things in multiplayer. So right now, we're going to be running, this is the locked camo. It would work the same with dark matter and all sorts. These are unowned blueprints and everything just like that. So let's get in and show you guys us actually running those. But first, we'll restart and show you guys this class. Okay, so we've just restarted, and let's go and show you guys what this looks like after restart. Now we come over to the multiplayer stuff. We come to the classes, and the classes that we done this to and we duped, said create new on, those stuck. But as you see, these other ones didn't stick up here, okay? So these classes down here and these classes down here that we created with this create new option down here, these, as long as you, from the very first point of creating these classes and you never put legit items into these classes will always be able to run non-legit items. Items you do not have unlocked. So like here, this Olympia is locked. The camo on it is the black cell camo that this profile can't have. So normally in any other slot it would wipe out. And same with the katana and same with this gun here and things like that. So we can go along and we can run these as long as we do not mess these classes up by equipping stuff that we have unlocked into these classes and have these classes without items that are locked in them. Then that will permanently ruin that class and it will no longer have the ability to run locked stuff. So you need to understand that. And in multiplayer, you have to be able to do, you treat this like you do in Plunder. When we're over in Warzone with Battle Royale, we actually use it differently. So take note for the mode that you're in. So let's go in game and show you us using those. Okay, so to use this, what you want to do is we want to say delete one, and then we want to dupe the other one, and then we select it. And now we can use these cool items with the locked camos and stuff through death for the entire game. And it's just that simple, guys. We get the locked camos that we don't own with the guns that are locked, the weapons that are locked, and everything, guys. You can run locked items if you care to fully set up the classes and everything quite easily, guys. Between deaths and everything, it's not wiping but on every death and everything. And this is how simply you can just use all of this stuff online, guys. So all you have to do is to use it, you just delete one of the ones that stick and then you just dupe the other one over it. Just that simple. Now don't start the game with that favorite a different class and come into the game and do it that way, and you'll just have no trouble using all of these locked guns, guys. It's real simple, really easy. Now, if any point in this video, player 1's items dupe over player 2's class, you have the double login that I've talked about in my past videos. You'll have to restart your console and start again. Get to the point where player 2's items dupe over player 1's when you do what we show you in this video. So, what we do is I'm going to log into zombies with player 1. And as you'll see, they're level 2, so they don't even have access to any of these stuff. They've still got the base pistol in their class, as you see holding here. My operator's holding the pistol. They don't have anything set up yet. We're about to change that right now. To do that, we bring in my main as player 2. Now this one, this player 2, has all the items unlocked that you're trying to use on player 1's controller, on player 1's profile. This is the dupe. So we have player 2 that we've just brought in. They own everything. With player 2, controller 2, go over to the weapons tab. Then with player 1, controller 1, the augments tab is unlocked. With player 1, controller 1, you can go into the augments tab. And now player 1, controller 1 can select all of player 2's augments and equip them. Simple as this. So we're going to go along and do that right now. Fast forward. The turret for the energy mine. Like that. Now we can back out of here with player 1's controller. Now, all we need to do from this point, we've done the augments. Now, we're just going to come out to here with player 1, and then we're going to back to this screen. We're going to go in with player 2, and now player 1 is holding all of player 2's stuff in their loadout. If it doesn't yet, we'll just go in with player 2 to their loadout. This is the setup that player 2 is going to be running. They have the monolithic suppressor. They have, this actually does have the dragon's breath on this. This is a glitched build. I've taught how to do these as well. So we've actually got Dragon's Breath with Rapid Fire on this gun as well. So this gun here is super cool. It's got camos on it and everything. We have Ether Shroud in here. It does not copy over the tactical and the lethals. It will copy over the melees with their camos and the weapon and the field upgrade. So our level 2 account is going to have these 3 items here in their class. Now all we do is we back out again. We back out with controller 1 and now we go in with controller 2. Now we should see here that player 2 is holding the same weapon as player 1. We have now duped over all of their class. We can now back player 2 out of the game. That's all that we needed them for. Player 1 now has all of their augments and has their loadout and everything. Player 1, which is the level 2 account, can now go in and it's ready to go in. But as you see here, we've got our Dragon's Breath, we've got Rapid Fire, Dragon's Breath, we've got all of our attachments working on this level 2 account. We have the cool katanas with the nebula camo and everything just working on this level 2 account. And it literally only took a couple seconds to do it. We've got the augments and everything. It was just easy, really simple. As long as you're playing on a new gen console that can split screen. This is just a way to be able to dupe over all the stuff and use them and everything as they were, even though it's all the locked items. So this gun you just seen we were using this. It had Dragon's Breath, even though it's got Rapid Fire on it. So it's got Rapid Fire Dragon's Breath, which is an extra cool glitch as well. But how I built that, I show in my video that shows how to build guns with 9 attachments and Modern Warfare 6 attachment weapons. That gun is where I built this one. I built this in that video, I think, and I've had it since then. So you're able to save them, dupe them over like that, and all sorts. And as you see here, I'm able to put this onto alts and run them, even if their loadouts are locked and everything, guys. Okay, this one's really simple, really easy. I'm not going to overcomplicate this stuff, so I'm just going to show you guys a real brief tutorial on how to dupe. So what we do is we come along, and my main is here, and I want to pull our variant for the kilo, right? So we need to have my main as player 1, and then I need to bring in an alt as player 2. Now, this alt needs to have the gun, access to the gun that we're trying to pull a blueprint for to put into their class. So this one here, I know, already has access to be able to equip the kilo, and I want to pull a brand new kilo blueprint for my profile. So we bring in player 2, and in player 2 I'm going to be equipping a kilo into player 2's loadout, and player 2's loadout is the one that determines the camo that player 1 gets on their gun. So my player 2 is going to go along and it's going to equip a kilo with a cool camo on the kilo. So we'll go along and get a cool camo, duplicate this, then go along and equip a kilo into player 2's class. Now player 2 has a kilo in their class. Now all we do is with player 1's controller, we back out to this screen here. I don't know why it's decided to bring up this. That's not part of it, guys, but back out to this screen here. Then with player 2 we go in, and it's just that simple. We've duped over. Now wait for it to come in because the game's behaving really slowly. We come across with player 1, and player 1 now has the kilo that player 2 just equipped. Now it's not a blueprint yet. To turn this into a blueprint, player 1 can simply just go along and select any blueprint that they have on their profile. So we go along and we select this. Now we back out with player 1's controller out to this screen here, and with player 1 we can just go back in. It's going to pull us a kilo of equivalent of the blueprint that we just selected, guys. And it's just simple. We just keep going through and selecting different variants into our class as player 1 until we find a blueprint of the kilo that we want and we're happy with, guys. This is how you can blueprint fish for kilos or any gun. With player 2 just puts the gun that you want to pull a blueprint for into their class with the camo on it, and player 1 just simply goes through swapping through the different blueprints that they own to pull an equivalent blueprint of the gun that player 2 has in their class. So it's really simple like this, guys. You just go through your different blueprints. Obviously, the more blueprints you own for a gun, the more different variants you can pull for a different gun and stuff like that. Simple as, easy as. So we'll go through and I'll show you guys what pulls this brand new, really cool variant. Oh, that's what it was. Whoa, what is that, guys? So we just used the Razorburn XM4 and that just pulled this awesome looking Mastercraft blueprint right here. Now what we can do is we can simply just take off the optic and that will save that as a blueprint on our profile, and now we can simply use the equipped locked weapons glitch to be able to equip it. So that also works over here in zombies. If I was to go along and equip this, then I was simply just to try and equip that gun. All I'd need to do is say with the broken account glitch, say create new here. Then all we'd need to do is come along and say duplicate on that gun if you've got it saved, but in my case we didn't have it saved, so I'm just going to quickly go along and re-grab that gun. So we grab that, we use the Razorburn, we back out, we come back in, and we have that gun. Right now we want to go along and we want to save that gun, so we save it. Now, because we're in broken account, to make sure that that saves, I'm going to go along and delete this one and then say duplicate, because then we get a copy of it. That one will never go. Now, to show you guys how we could just equip that gun, we could go along to this. We could say create new on this gun, and we get this gun. Now, we can go along, we can come back to this, and we want to equip this. We say create new here. Come back and then we simply just say duplicate on this. Now when we back out of our class, it turns into that gun, and now that's how you equip that over in zombies. So you can equip your lock guns in all your different places. So now that we've got that cool lock gun, let's jump over to Warzone and finish the video with showing you guys us equipping and using this in Warzone. Now the same ways over in Warzone works over in multiplayer too, guys, so don't think that something you're seeing in Warzone won't work over in multiplayer. I'm just not primarily a multiplayer player. So as you see here, here's this gun. We come over, we say create new over here. Obviously we need to do it in our classes that do not wipe, so we'll come down to here. We will come over to here and we will come to here. We will say create new here. Then we will back and say duplicate on this. Right? So we said create new, and then we've come back in and we've said duplicate on this. We back out to this screen right here. We go back in, and now we have that awesome blueprint sitting there, able to use it. So we'll load in game and we'll use this blueprint. And guys, as you see here, the new awesome gun working in game with a trained Mastercraft and all sorts, guys, working in game. So with that said, you guys know the deal. Get down there if you haven't already. Smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you're not already. Leave me that awesome comment. Keep being awesome, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. BMAN